You are a ghost inside a metal beast, a specter haunting a fortress of impossible scale. Its halls are arteries of cold, gray steel. They stretch for miles in every direction, a sterile and unending maze. The air itself feels heavy. It is recycled and hostile. It tastes of ozone and processed metal on your tongue. This is the Anvil, the flagship command center, the beating heart of the Iron Armada. Your home for 217 agonizing days. Your prison. Every shadow here is a question mark. Every distant metallic echo a potential threat. You wear their armor, a heavy shell of black composites. It smells alien, a scent you can never quite ignore. You mimic their rigid, four-stepped gait. A rhythm you practiced until your muscles burned. You even learned the low, guttural clicks of their language. Sounds that scrape the back of your throat. But you are not one of them. You are a whisper of defiance. A single wrong note in a symphony of iron. Your mission is simple to state and impossible to achieve. Break the Iron Armada from within its own chest. You walk down a primary transit corridor. It is wide enough to drive a column of tanks through. Towering figures of chitin and metal stomp past you. Their footsteps are heavy, rhythmic thuds that you feel in your bones. Their faces are unreadable masks of warrior focus, hidden behind polished black helmets. They are the Cathar, conquerors of 1,000 star systems, and you are a microbe in their bloodstream, a single, disguised human. Your own heart pounds a frantic, fleshy rhythm against your ribs, a desperate beat that does not belong in this cold, hard place. If they find you, it is not just your own death you face. It is the failure of an entire species. It is the extinguishing of humanity's last, flickering hope. So you keep walking. You force your pace to match their deliberate stride. You keep your eyes downcast, fixed on the steel floor plates. You are nothing. A low-level technician. Grade 4. A speck of insignificant dust on their immaculate steel shell. But you are the speck of dust that will find its way into their engine. You are the flaw that will shatter the whole machine. The rhythms of the Anvil are the keys to your survival. You have learned them like a prayer. The precise minute the shift changes happen. The deep, sub-vocal hum of the engines, your constant, oppressive companion. You can even feel the subtle change in air pressure, the strange stillness that precedes a jump into the void between stars. These are the tiny details that keep you alive. You absorb them. You become part of the ship's terrible, grinding pulse. You have to. Your assigned station is deep in the ship's belly. Sublevel 7, a maintenance hub for the ship's secondary environmental systems. It is a tangled forest of thick conduits and glowing plasma relays. The heat here is a physical weight, a damp, oppressive blanket that never lifts. The Cathar overseers, the warrior caste, rarely come down here. It is a place for the drones and the low-born technicians, a perfect, forgotten corner to hide in plain sight. You carry a diagnostic tablet at all times. Its alien script once swam before your eyes like meaningless symbols. Now you can read its glowing, angular letters faster than your own language. It is your shield. It is your sword. It is your excuse to be anywhere. It gives you a reason to access any non-critical system terminal. Your entire life depends on looking perpetually busy and utterly unimportant. You have become a master of being forgettable. It is the only art that matters here. One misstep will unravel everything. A single word spoken with the wrong guttural inflection. A moment's hesitation at a security checkpoint's energy scanner. Even an involuntary flinch when a 12-foot warrior caste giant brushes past you in a corridor. They are a logical, brutal race. An anomaly is not a curiosity. An anomaly is a threat. And all threats on the anvil are purged without question, without mercy. You are the ultimate anomaly, a warm-blooded lie in a cold-blooded truth. Your nights are spent in a cramped, vertical alcove, a sleeping pod barely larger than a coffin. But you do not sleep much. You work. You use your low-level technician's access to carefully, patiently probe the ship's network. It is a fortress of data, a digital mountain range of firewalls and encryption. Each wall of code you encounter is a new, complex nightmare. For weeks, you found nothing useful. Just endless mind-numbing reports on power consumption, on waste recycling efficiency. Not exactly the thrilling exposé you were hoping for. But then, late one cycle, you find it. A crack, a single misrouted diagnostic data stream from the command deck, a tiny error in an otherwise flawless, perfect system. A microscopic oversight. You begin to pry it open. Gently, carefully. You siphon the data one packet at a time. A painfully slow process that takes days to complete. A single, unexplained spike in network traffic could trigger a legion of alarms and bring your mission to a very sudden end. The data stream is heavily, beautifully encrypted. A puzzle box wrapped in a riddle, locked with a key that doesn't exist. You use the decryption keys smuggled inside your own mind. Neural interface implants that represent humanity's last, desperate gamble. Slowly, painstakingly, the code begins to unwrap. The data resolves itself into schematics, not for the ship's hardware, but for its central intelligence, its brain. You have found the ship's soul. It is the core processing unit, the heart and mind of the entire anvil. The data suggests it is more than a computer. It is something else entirely, something closer to a captive intellect. And it has a designation, a name. You read the word on your hidden palm-sized screen. The letters glow in the oppressive dark of your pod, the Nexus Core. The name feels heavy on your tongue even when unspoken. It feels dangerous. You are no longer just surviving. Now you have a target. Your designated overseer finds you. Its name is a series of harsh clicks you translate as Xylac. It stands 12 feet tall. Its armored shoulders are as wide as a doorway. Its shadow completely covers your entire workspace, plunging you into sudden gloom. It points a long, clawed hand at a sparking, bucking conduit. A conduit that powers primary life support for this entire sector. Fix, it rumbles. A single word, a command, a death sentence. This is not a simple repair job. The conduit is failing catastrophically. Thick ropes of raw plasma arc across the junction, white-hot and violently unpredictable. Standard operating procedure is to purge the entire sector. Vent it to the cold of space and let a shielded drone handle the repair. But Xylac does not move. It just stands there, watching you. Its 4 black, glassy eyes are fixed on your helmet. You know it instantly. This is a test. The Cathar value brutal efficiency and calculated risk. They despise weakness and wastefulness. Purging the sector is the safe option, but it is inefficient. Repairing it live is suicidally dangerous, but it is very, very efficient. You have to choose. Your human instinct, your very DNA, screams at you to run, to get as far away from that arcing plasma as possible. But your mission demands that you stay. You have to be one of them. You have to pass their test. You grab a heavy plasma welder and a portable magnetic shield generator. You walk toward the arcing energy. The heat scorches the surface of your suit. The light is a blinding, strobing flare that makes your eyes water. You force yourself to work quickly. Your movements are precise, economical. You do not show fear. You cannot show fear. You just fix the problem. You weld the fractured plate. You seal the breach. The violent arcing sputters and dies. You turn back to Xylac. It looks at you for a long, silent moment. Then it gives a single, sharp nod of approval and walks away without another word. You have passed, for now. You lean against the wall, your legs suddenly weak. Weeks pass. The monotonous, grinding routine of the anvil continues. Your close call with Xylac and the conduit was a turning point. It earned you a measure of trust, a very dangerous currency in this place. You are given more access, more responsibilities, which means more chances to dig for secrets, and of course, more chances to get caught. It's a fantastic career move if you completely ignore the terrible life expectancy. You are in the mess hall. A cavernous, echoing room filled with the sounds of metal scraping on metal. The Cathar eat a gray nutrient paste from recessed troughs in the tables. You do the same. It tastes like rust and crushed minerals. With a hint of regret, you keep your head down. You eat. You listen. Mostly, you hear nothing but low clicks and rumbles about battle drills, about the inherent weakness of organic species. The usual dinner conversation. But tonight, you hear something different. A whisper from a nearby table. Two technicians, their armor bearing the same low rank as yours. Their backs are to you. Their voices are barely audible over the din. Guarded. They speak of the old way, of a time before the Armada, before the endless conquest and the path of iron. One speaks of honor being lost. The other speaks of a deep shame, a betrayal of their own history. They are questioning the absolute doctrine of their leaders. It is heresy. It is treason of the highest order. The whisper is gone as quickly as it came. They fall silent as a warrior caste passes their table. But the words hang in the air for you, a seed of doubt planted in a forest of absolute certainty. You realize a critical truth, a truth that might save your species. Not all minds in the Iron Armada are one. There are cracks in their perfect, terrible armor. The whispers you overheard give you a new direction, a new hope. If there is dissent, there may be hidden vulnerabilities, weak points in their security created by belief, not just by code. You refocus your nightly searches. You are no longer just looking for schematics and patrol timetables. You are looking for a path to the Nexus core, the path the rebels might use, or the path the most loyal of loyalists would guard most fiercely. You cross-reference everything you know about the Nexus core. You match its location with newly acquired ship-wide patrol schedules. You analyze power grids and the overlapping fields of security sensors. A picture begins to form out of the digital noise. A route emerges, a ghost path. It is not a physical corridor. It is a terrifying series of maintenance shafts and high-energy power conduits, a path through the ship's very guts. The route is a blueprint for a nightmare. It passes through multiple zero-gravity zones. It skirts the very edge of the main reactor's containment field, a field that leaks enough radiation to cook you in minutes. It requires navigating claustrophobic shafts barely wide enough for your shoulders. And at the end of it all is the Nexus chamber, the most heavily guarded, most sacred space on the entire anvil. The chamber itself is protected by the Sun Guard, the Cathar's most elite and fanatical warriors. They are living legends among the crew, zealots who guard the Armada's holiest sites. They do not leave their post. They do not sleep. They simply exist to guard. To reach the Nexus core, you would have to get past them. An utterly impossible task. But at least now you have a detailed map to your own doom. How fun. Your exemplary work ethic has not gone unnoticed. Fixing Xylac's conduit was a bigger deal than you realized. You are efficient. You are quiet. You do not ask questions. You are, in their cold, logical eyes, the model low-level worker. And so, the inevitable, terrible thing happens. You are promoted. It is the very last thing you wanted. The attention feels like a physical weight. A message appears on your main work console. A transfer order, effective immediately. You are being reassigned to Central Systems Maintenance. Your new station is on Deck 3, just 2 levels below the main command bridge, right next to the heart of their entire command structure. You feel a cold, sickening dread mixed with a grim sense of opportunity. You are being fed to the wolves. But the wolves live right next to where you need to go. Your new overseer is not a hulking warrior like Xylac. It is a planner caste. Thinner, more elegant, with long, delicate claws made for interacting with holographic interfaces. Its name is a soft series of clicks you translate as Jarix. It regards you with a piercing intelligence that is far more terrifying than any amount of brute force. Your efficiency is noted, technician. It clicks, its voice smooth and sharp. Do not make us regret this decision. Now you walk among the ship's elite, the planners, the fleet masters, the ones who give the orders that extinguish civilizations. Your simple disguise of being an unimportant drone feels paper-thin up here. Every glance from a superior feels like a deep-level interrogation. You are closer to the Nexus core than you ever dreamed possible. But you are also standing in the brightest, most unforgiving spotlight imaginable. One mistake here will not be overlooked. It will simply be your last. Your new access is a terrifying, double-edged sword. The data streams here are richer, more detailed, more dangerous, more revealing. You work your 12-hour shifts in a constant state of high alert, maintaining systems that are absolutely critical to the ship's function. During your designated rest cycles, you return to your pod and you dig. You dig into the network with a new, frantic desperation. Your time is running out. You find a deeply locked archive, hidden deep within the command network's core programming. It is sealed with 7 layers of quantum encryption. Encryption you have never seen before. It is a digital vault. You spend 3 full weeks patiently, carefully chipping away at its defenses, using your new proximity to the central network to run brute force attacks that would have been detected anywhere else. Finally, one night, a single file gives way. It feels like a bone snapping inside your own skull. The file is labeled Final Mandate. You open it. It is not a military plan. It is not a strategy for invasion or planetary conquest. It is something infinitely worse. It is a work of advanced star science, a terrifying blueprint for a weapon of unimaginable power, a weapon that uses the Anvil's Nexus core as its focusing lens, a weapon that can manipulate gravity on a cosmic scale. You read the cool, technical data with a growing, sickening horror. The Iron Armada does not just conquer worlds. That is just a side effect of their campaign, a way to gather the resources they need. Their true purpose, their final, holy goal, is to unmake stars. They are not conquerors. They are extinguishers. They travel the endless void to put out the lights, one by one. The file lists future targets. The next one is a G-type main sequence star, a yellow star, with 8 orbiting planets. One of them is a blue and white world designated Sol 3. The words on the screen burn into your mind. Sol, your sun, your home. They are coming for your home. They are coming to kill your star. Everything you have done, the risks, the fear, the isolation, it all crystallizes into this one terrible, world-shattering moment. The mission is no longer about saving unknown, alien worlds. It is about saving your own. It is about saving everyone you have ever known. You now understand the true nature of the Nexus core. It is not just the ship's brain. It is the trigger mechanism for their ultimate weapon, the dark heart of their star-killing machine. And you know the path to it. The forbidden path through the ship's guts, the one guarded by the fanatical Sun Guard. It is still an impossible plan. It is still a suicide run. But you no longer have a choice. But you have a new tool, a new idea. Your high-level access gives you one final, desperate advantage. You can create a cascade failure, a feedback loop using the very energy systems you are now assigned to maintain. You can write a virus, a simple, elegant piece of malicious code, a logic bomb that would instruct the Nexus core to overload itself, to turn the anvil's own power against it. Your hand hovers over your console. Your fingers tremble slightly. You can write the code right now. Upload it from the relative safety of your station. It would cripple the anvil, maybe even destroy it completely. But it would be an electronic attack, an attack of pure data. They would trace its origin back to this terminal in mere seconds. You would be captured, interrogated by their masters of pain. They would learn about the human resistance. They would learn about your neural implants. It would save billions, and it would doom you and all of humanity's secrets utterly. You do not release the virus from your terminal. That would be too simple, too clean. They are masters of data. They could stop it. They could quarantine the code in an instant. No, the cascade failure must be physical. It must be initiated from the Nexus core's own primary interface, a hardline override that cannot be countered by a remote firewall or a digital failsafe. You have to go there yourself. You begin your long journey down the forbidden path. The maintenance shafts are as tight and as dark as you had imagined. The ship's groans and tremors surround you, a constant, threatening symphony. The air is thick with the metallic smell of ozone and hot metal. You crawl on your hands and knees through tunnels caked in grime. You squeeze through spaces that were never meant for living things. Every scraped sound is a patrol. Every moving shadow a waiting warrior. After hours that feel like an entire lifetime, you arrive. You push open a heavy grate and emerge into a vast, circular chamber. The air itself hums with immense, contained power. In the exact center of the room, suspended in a crackling web of energy conduits, is the Nexus core. It is not a machine of metal and wires. It is a perfect sphere of pure, blinding white light. A captive, miniature star. Its brilliance is both beautiful and terrifying. The Sun Guard are here. 3 of them. As still as statues carved from obsidian. They are silent monuments of black armor and grim purpose. They stand guard around the raised central platform. You cannot fight them. That would be ludicrous. But maybe, just maybe, you do not have to. You are still a technician, a high-level one. You have a reason to be here. You take a deep, steadying breath. You step out from the shadows. You begin the final sequence that will break their fleet. You walk onto the polished platform. Your heart is a frantic drum in the sudden, humming silence. The Sun Guard track your every move. Their helmeted heads turn in perfect, unnerving sync. You hold up your data tablet. Your new high-level clearance glows on its screen in their angular script. You project an air of bored, calm authority. You are here for a priority diagnostic. A lie so audacious, so utterly mundane, it might just work. One of the guards steps forward. It is taller than the other 2. It examines your tablet, its helmet tilted slightly. It looks at you. Its silence is a weapon. It is more intimidating than any shouted threat. You can feel its gaze penetrating your helmet, searching for any flicker of deception. Seconds stretch into an eternity. Then, it steps back. It gestures with a single clawed hand toward the core's interface console. Permission granted. They think you're just another cog in their great machine, a fool on a fool's errand. You approach the console. The light from the core is warm on your faceplate. You plug your tablet into the port. The system greets you with your new credentials. You have full, unrestricted access. You begin the override sequence. It is not a smash and grab. It is a delicate, intricate series of commands. Disguised as a routine recalibration protocol, you are telling the core to reroute its own energy regulators, to devour itself, to drink from the river of power it commands until it inevitably drowns. You hit the final command. The sequence is accepted, initiated. There are no sirens. There are no flashing red lights. Just a subtle, almost imperceptible change in the core's steady hum. A shift in pitch so small that only you, the architect of this doom, can feel it in your teeth. But the ship knows. The anvil feels the poison you have injected into its heart. The silent alarm has been tripped. Every corridor on this ship is now a closing trap, and you are the prey. You turn from the console and walk away, calmly, deliberately. You even give a slight nod to the sun guard. They nod back. They have no idea what you have done, what you have unleashed. You make it back to the maintenance grate. You slip back into the comforting darkness of the ship's guts. Only then do you allow yourself to run, to scramble through the filth and pipes like the animal you are. The ship is now your enemy, not passively, but actively hunting you. Heavy blast doors seal in front of you with crushing finality. Corridors that were open seconds before are now blocked. The ship's own logic is rerouting its internal structure, trying to contain you, to box you in. Its response is perfect, efficient, logical, and therefore predictable. It anticipates your most likely path to an escape pod hangar. It lays its traps of steel and energy along that very path. So you do not take the logical path. You take the stupid, illogical human path. You climb headfirst into a greasy waste disposal chute. You navigate through scorching hot ventilation ducts that threaten to melt your suit. You use your plasma welder to cut through internal bulkheads they assume are impassable. You use chaos as your shield and your sword. Human desperation against cold, hard, unfeeling logic. It is a race you know you cannot win, but you might just be able to tie. Loud blaring alerts finally begin to sound. The Cathar now know what is happening. The low hum of the ship is rising to a terrifying, metallic scream. You can hear their heavy armored boots stomping through the corridors above and below you. They are hunting you in force. But they are hunting in the formal hallways, not in the filth and the fire and the forgotten spaces where you now crawl. You are a rat in the walls of their dying god. You are cornered. A sealed titanium pressure door blocks your path. A full squad of Cathar warriors is closing in fast behind you. You can hear their guttural commands echoing down the corridor. It is over. There is nowhere else to run. You lean your helmet against the cold steel door, waiting for the end. The anvil will die, but so will you. A fair trade, you suppose. Suddenly, a small control panel next to the door sparks to life. A single green light flashes. With a deafening groan, the heavy door grinds open. You stare in utter disbelief. On the other side of the doorway stands a Cathar, a technician, its armor bearing the same low rank as the ones you saw in the mess hall. It holds a plasma welder. It looks at you. Its face is hidden by its helmet, but you can feel its intent. It is an ally. It points down the newly opened corridor, an escape route. Then it turns back the way you came, toward the sounds of the approaching warrior squad. It raises its plasma welder, not as a weapon against them, but as a tool. It begins cutting into a major, high-voltage power conduit, a guaranteed suicidal act. It is creating a massive, explosive diversion. It is drawing the warrior squad to itself. It is buying you time with its own life. It turns its head one last time. It looks at you and taps its own chest twice with a closed fist. The gesture you saw in the mess hall, the sign of the old way, of honor. Then it is engulfed in a blinding, silent flash of arcing plasma. The explosion rocks the entire corridor. An enemy, a stranger, has just given their life for you, for your mission. You do not waste the gift. You run. The ship is tearing itself apart from the inside out. The sacrifice of the rebel technician bought you precious, vital seconds. But the anvil itself is now your greatest and most immediate threat. The lights flicker and die, plunging you into absolute darkness. Gravity plates fail, sending you tumbling in sudden, disorienting weightlessness. The very structure of the vessel groans under an unbearable, tortured stress. The Nexus core is winning its battle against itself. You are no longer navigating a starship. You are climbing through a zero-gravity, vertical wreckage. You dodge falling support beams the size of buildings. You leap across yawning chasms that have opened in the deck plating. The air is filled with the high-pitched shriek of twisting metal, the dying screams of a metal god. The escape pods are your only hope. A single, small hangar bay, 3 decks above. You climb through the unfolding chaos, upward, always upward. You ignore the fires that erupt from ruptured fuel lines. You ignore the miniature electrical storms that crackle from broken conduits. Your mind is focused on one single thing: escape. The anvil fought you with cold logic. Now it dies with mindless, chaotic fury. It thrashes and breaks like a wounded beast. You finally reach the hangar bay. It is a scene of pure chaos. A few red emergency lights cast long, dancing shadows across the cavernous space. Several of the larger escape pods have already launched. But one remains. A small, one-person scout ship, still locked in its cradle. Its hatch is open, a silent invitation. You sprint across the bucking deck. The ship lurches violently. You are thrown from your feet. You crawl the last few yards on your hands and knees. You pull yourself inside. You slam the hatch shut just as the main hangar door collapses in a shower of sparks and steel. You fire the thrusters. The small ship lurches from its cradle. It rockets out of the dying anvil and into the black. Through the small viewport, you see the true scale of the destruction. The fortress ship is a thing of both horror and breathtaking beauty. Brilliant energy, raw and untamed, arcs across its massive hull like cosmic lightning. Huge sections of the great vessel break away. They drift silently into the endless void. There is a final, blinding flash of pure white light. It consumes the anvil completely. It is the light of the Nexus core, unleashed and uncontained. It expands in a perfect sphere. Then it fades, leaving nothing behind, not even wreckage. Just a shimmering, temporary distortion in space. The anvil is gone. The Iron Armada's heart has been broken. Billions of lives have been saved. Your home is safe. Your small scout ship tumbles through the silent darkness. The silence is absolute, total. You are alone. Adrift in a stolen enemy ship. Hundreds of light years from any friendly space. You frantically check the ship's systems. You have limited power. No star charts for this unknown region of space. No long-range communications. No way to send a message. You have won. You have single-handedly completed the most important mission in human history. But there will be no victory parade for you. No medals. No triumphant welcome home. You are a ghost, not just in their machine, but now in the vast, lonely, and empty dark between the stars. The Armada is broken, but you are deep behind enemy lines, and your personal war is very far from over.